Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, if you find it useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to give this channel some love. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. In a moment, I'm going to let you know the idea that sparked the Asexual Guide to Sex books. Obviously, most asexuals, we don't want sex. We don't like it, don't really think about it. However, we live in a highly sexualized world where we're about 1% of the population. I think it's a little bit more than that because there's a lot of asexuals that are in hiding and in the closet, as it were. So I think it's a bit more than that, probably 2 or 3%, I'm thinking. But because we live in this highly sexualized world, it means that we're more than likely to end up in a relationship at some point in our life with a sexual person who requires or wants or thinks or needs sex with us. So I'm going to be talking about why I decided to write the Asexual Guide to Sex book, because it's quite ironic, isn't it? But before we get to that, I want to let you know this was my first book I ever published for asexuals in 2017, which still sells well today. And this is Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. So this is a very good foundation book to read to the Asexual Guide to Sex book, because obviously it does introduce a topic of how asexuals deal with sex, what's happened to them in relation to that. But that isn't the whole point of this book. The whole point is in showing the asexual spectrum and the diversity across it, and actually, sifting through all the different types of attraction in terms of sexual attraction, in terms of sexual desire, arousal, all these different types of things, that a lot of people put together, and a lot of asexuals still don't understand the difference. So a lot of people don't even understand what is sexual attraction. So this book basically busts through all those myths and stereotypes of asexuality, because some asexuals do have sex and some don't mind it, others are repulsed by it. So it does bust through a lot of those things. It really gives you a good guide as to how to deal and kind of survive in this highly sexualized world we live in. So it's really, really informative and interesting. So that was a book. It's very easily laid out. It's a chapter per story, and it's set out purposely in interview style questions so that you can cross-reference people's answers throughout the different chapters. So the Asexual Guide to Sex book, why did that come about? Because it is very ironic, isn't it? Because a lot of asexuals, like I said, we're not really interested in sex, the majority of us, right? But that is not true for every asexual. There are a proportion that are just curious about sex, even though they don't want to try it. There's other ones that are thinking about trying it, but they're not sure what the heck to do because sex doesn't come naturally to them. And there are other people that are indifferent or don't mind participating in it. So, for a start, there's a huge myth that no asexuals ever have sex. And if you ever have sex or ever had sex in your life, you cannot be asexual. This simply isn't true. And I want to put that myth to bed right now, because it simply isn't true. It simply isn't true. A lot of asexuals, we feel like in our life that we have to have sex as part of a loving relationship, because if you don't have sex, you don't love me, and all that rubbish, So just be aware that sex is not love and love is not sex, right? They can be completely separate things. And for asexuals, they usually are completely separate things. And they are in and of themselves separate things, but just a lot of people choose to put them together. So when I first started doing this book, it was all the way back last year, right? My post about it last year. Look at that, June the 8th. So it's going back quite some time now, in 2019. I'm recording this in 2020. So I put the story, the book title was originally called something else. It was called the Asexual Sex Stories, the Good, the Bad and the Fugly Real Life Asexual Sex Stories. And that's changed now to Asexual Guide to Sex with Asexual Sex Stories as the subtitle. So we're still talking about the good, the bad, and the fugly stories within the book from each interviewee, but it's just much more of a guide to how you would have sex if you're asexual and wanted to try it. But there's much more to it than that. There's about sexual acts. So maybe you don't want to do full sexual intercourse, but as an asexual, you don't mind doing some sexual acts. And there's things like about boundaries and assertiveness, which I wish I'd known when I was 16 years old. The book I am writing now with all the wonderful asexuals that have spent hours and days and weeks and months even on the book with me, on the editing their stories for the book and getting it right for everyone who wants the book, which I know there's a lot of people that want this book, you know. There's a lot of work that's gone into it, you know. It's just an incredible book for those who are thinking about, you know, maybe trying it or just curious, you know. And anyway, I'll carry on. So basically I put following on from hi Eddie, book. Yes, I'm talking about the book because I've been working on the Asexual Guide to Sex book again. Well, yesterday through to the early hours of, well, now yesterday because it's just hit midnight. So I was working on it a lot, and I'm going to be continuing. And so yeah, I'm really excited. So I'm so happy to be working back on the Asexual Guide to Sex book because I know it can help so many people, like asexuals themselves, parents of asexuals, family, friends of asexuals, partners of asexuals, therapists, counselors, teachers. It can just help everyone basically. So when I originally started talking about the book and asking for interviews, thanks for the thumbs up, by the way. I said, following on from Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories book, which has been hugely successful. I'm looking for asexuals to be interviewed for my new book, which was the old title back then, who have had sex before and who want to share their experience of their first time having sex. Eddie, I need all the help I can get. Yeah, you will find this book incredibly like the best book ever written about asexuality and sex. It's just amazing. So you definitely got to get the book. So to carry on, so basically I was talking about what will be expected of the interviewees to share their experience of their first time having sex. I mean, obviously that's a very, very intimate thing, very private thing. So the asexuals that have taken part in this book, I cannot do anything to thank them enough from the bottom of my heart for literally putting their own kind of private stuff out there in order to help save asexuals some pain and heartache and to be safer. You know, this is what the book's all about, Asexual Guide to Sex. It's not saying asexuals should have sex. It's far from it. It's saying those people that are asexual, that are thinking about considering it at all, should get the book first. Don't make the mistake of just jumping into that, what I did. I was pressurized at 16 into losing my virginity. It wasn't a particularly pleasant experience. Luckily, the person was gentle and it didn't hurt, which is something to be said, considering a lot of stories I've actually heard from other people, not necessarily in my book, but from other people about what happens with that. So I was very lucky in that respect that it didn't hurt, you know. It was okay in that respect, which is, you know, the most important thing really, that you're safe physically as well. But obviously mentally it wasn't good, and emotionally, because I was pressurized into it, blackmailed, kind of like, oh, if all my friends are doing it, you know, and all that type of thing. So, but I think this book, that's why this book is so important, because it'll show the experience of other asexuals and can save people a lot of heartache, bother and trouble and pressure, you know. I really wish I had the book, honestly, because when you see it, you'll see what asexuals' advice is based on their own real life experience, you know. And it's a lot of asexuals in the book, not as many as 47. It's like going to be about 20, because I don't think it's necessary to have all 47 in, because that was a different type of book. And the questions are very extensive that I'm asking the interviewees, you know. Well, it's split into a few parts. One of the parts, there's people just answering less questions and telling more of their story, and the other one is help, advice and guidance about sex. So it's really phenomenally incredible, you know. I mean, the story I've just worked on last. I mean, that's amazing. So it's a very good addition to the story. All the new ones that come in are very good additions. They really complement and contrast what's already in the book. So I'm really pleased. So when I talked about the book originally, I said it'll be asexuals who want to share the experience of having sex for the first time, as well as sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly of their experience of having sex. You will also be asked questions to advise other asexuals who are thinking about having sex for the first time ever and not sure about what they should do, whether they should do it or not. The book will be available to buy on Amazon globally in print under my own imprint of Quirky Books, because I own my own publishing company. I'm so proud of that, you know, and that means I can share people's stories, the real raw truth. Because I did have a traditional publisher that's been going for 35 years interested in this Asexual Guide to Sex book. In fact, they wanted the Asexual Perspectives book. Because I'm my own imprint, they saw this book in an LGBT shop in London, independent shop. And, you know, this is a physical bricks and mortar store they saw it in. And they were interested in publishing that. Well, I already published it, you know. And when we discussed it, they wanted me to take half the stories out. Well, the book's called, you know, the Asexual Perspectives book's called 47 Asexual Stories. So to take half them out would mean the whole title change. They wanted all the reviews that I got. And, you know, I don't think that's the point. The point of the book was to show the vast asexual spectrum. There's kind of a story for everyone in there. I wanted there to be a lot of stories in the first book I ever did to show people the asexual spectrum, not just give textbook definitions of it. I thought it's very, very important to have a lot of people in that first book. A lot of people, you know? And so I'm really proud of it. And, you know, I would have had to ask, oh, hi, Liam. Hello, beautiful Sandra. Lots of love to you. Lots of love. And I would have to, with my, I'm still talking about the Asexual Perspectives book at the moment, as well as the Asexual Guide to Sex book. So I'm in the middle of talking about, the Asexual Perspectives book. And I did have a publisher interested in my Asexual Perspectives book and interested in the Asexual Guide to Sex book. I'm just about to say what happened with that. So it was a 35 years publishing company. But like I said, you know, they wanted my reviews. They want to halve the stories in the book from 47 to a lot less. And which would, you know, it would have just diminished the quality, in my opinion, of the book. And it would also have diminished the whole point. The whole point was to show our diversity. This book I'm talking about was to show our diversity across the spectrum, you know, because I just basically kept getting asked so many questions. Thanks for the thumbs up. About, you know, like what, you know, if I'm asexual, can I still watch porn? If I'm asexual, can I masturbate? Or am I not really asexual if I do that? You know, like what's the difference between sexual desire and arousal? What's the difference between sexual attraction and sexual arousal? You know, if I like BDSM, but I don't want sex during it, can I still be asexual? And I got asked all these questions. So this is what I put into the book. All the answers to all these questions, not just from me though, from other people who are asexual. So you can get a great big overview and know there's others like you out there. There's an asexual like you, so you're not alone, right? And so the publishing company, in the end, look, I said to them, and I would have had to ask to quote from my own book, this book, to quote. And now every July, which is coming up next month, I do Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. It's something I've done ever since I published this book, and it will be done again next month. And I pick some topics out of this book and discuss some of the portions from, or sections or paragraphs from the book, right? So that goes on throughout July every year. But I would have had to stop that and likely had to have taken down my videos that I've produced for the last 4 years on that. You know, well, this was last year's, the last 3 years, which I wasn't prepared to do. And in the end, I said no, you know, because they came back to me and they were asking me my marketing plan. So I had to do all this marketing plan that I usually do. And when I did their marketing plan, they forwarded that to the actual marketing team and said I have successfully published this book already, and because I've done this myself, thank you for the thumbs up, because I've done this myself, they feel that the forecast of the figures, that the money that would come in from it wouldn't match my expectations, because I've already done a good enough job, basically a better job than they could have done. So they agreed that it's better for me to keep this book. Now, the Asexual Guide to Sex book they were interested in publishing, but when I told them about the content, oh, Ace Man, Richard Howard, Hello, lots of love to you. Lovely to see you. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thank you so much, Richard. So when I spoke to his publishing company, I told them about the Asexual Guide to Sex book. And I showed them some of the stories provisionally that I'd all well, I don't even know if I showed them any stories. I definitely showed them the questionnaire. I think I might have shown them a few stories. They said it would be too risky because they have to get lawyers involved to go over it. And you're doing a great job. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Liam. Yeah, that's really kind of you. Thank you. Basically I was doing a better job of marketing this book than the company itself can do. And I'm like, well, what's the point in me publishing a book with someone else? Because they wanted all my connections as well. They're still interested in future books, but the percentage they're offering me, to be honest, is ridiculous for the amount of work I would be doing. I mean, this book took me a year to do, and the other book that I'm working on, the Asexual Guide to Sex book, I started last June, as I was saying. So, do you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to do all the work, just get a small percentage of my own book when I'm doing a good enough job marketing my books anyway. I don't think they can do, they even said they can't meet my expectations sales wise and marketing wise. So, you know what I mean? What's the point in going to someone else? I'm really good. And what they wanted to do is they said with the Asexual Guide to Sex, because there is some talk of sexual abuse in it, because obviously it's a good, the bad and the ugly. And then they couldn't take it on. They'd have to have lawyers look at it. They, basically their whole brand is feel good type of stories, right? So they don't want the nitty gritty truth. They want the feel-good stories to keep in with their image, right? It's a good book. Ace erasure on their part. Oh, thank you, Richard. Thank you. On their part, yeah, because you've got the book, haven't you? The Asexual Perspectives book. Yeah, because this one's got some obviously talk of some sexual abuse in it, and the Asexual Guide to Sex does as well, and basically they want to censor it. They only want feel good stories. They don't want anything to do with anyone who's experienced abuse. Well, I'm not being funny, but asexuals, some of us have, because we don't want sex, it's kind of like we're more likely to get ourselves in that situation. It's not the abuse that makes us asexual. It's actually abuse. Sexual abuse is a byproduct of asexuality, as in the sense that we're put into situations which we shouldn't be, but we're rammed down our throats time after time after time from the beginning of time, saying, oh, you've got to have sex in order to love and be loved. Thanks for the thumbs up. And if you're not having sex, then you can't be loved. Basically that's what even the counsellor told me in 2014 when I first found out as asexual. You're going to have sex in order to keep a good guy. Basically, it's like telling her, oh, here's a license to rape you. Because, if you want to be loved, you have to have sex, even though you won't want to, against your will, and know you hate it, So, I mean, yes, I had it in the past, but I told her clearly I can't do that anymore. I nearly wet myself now when the thought of doing that with a sexual person, when I was dating sexual guys and stuff. So, you know what I mean? It's just stressful, isn't it? And the truth needs to come out. And so I feel that if I was under another publishing company, the problem is they want to censor a lot of the stuff. They don't want me to do it in my style as well. I have to write it in their style. And I do a really good job of marketing. They're interested in my next 2 books, the 3rd and 4th. But to be honest with you, I don't know that I want to go with them. I don't see the point of me working for a whole year just for them to give me a minimal amount. And they changed the amount they said they were going to give me from the initial phone call of what they said was their percentage that I'd be getting. It then went down by a whole 5%. I'm like, where's this figure come from? You never even mentioned this figure. Because they mentioned an in-between figure. This is how many copies you need to sell. Then you go up to this, and then all of a sudden it went down to even less than the original thing. So, it makes me a bit not trust a company when they do stuff like that, and I work my ass off, excuse my language, to do this, like I said, the Asexual Guide to Sex book I've been working on for a year. Why should I just hand that over to someone? It's been my dream, though, for years. Honestly, it's been my dream before I did the asexual books to be under a professional publishing company that's been going for years. But now I know how well I can promote my own books and how long it takes me and the work I put into it and how I want to keep I want to keep the authenticity as much as possible of the people in my books, as well as my own authenticity, you know? Liam, you're doing a great job promoting asexuality. Because of you, our orientation will finally be recognised. I wish there were more people like you. Oh, thank you, Liam. I really appreciate it. I'm not keen on a company taking over what I do and basically trying to just hide all the details of what happens to us when we don't want sex. You know, some of the abuse stuff. Yes, it's difficult to take in some of it. You know, even when I read the book myself, there's one story in my book that's very difficult for me to even swallow, with the abuse side. You know, I've tried to, like, there's other ones, like there's one story which is a brilliant story, and I've had to like work really hard with the person who's been interviewed with kind of not toning it down so it doesn't bring it to home, but to kind of like eke it out over the story so that it makes more sense of why that happened, and also there's given context. But there's one story in the book that it's very difficult for me to kind of like read. You know, it makes me think, oh god, sexuals, oh no. Do you know what I mean? No offense to my sexual friends, because I do have some sexual friends, but you know what I mean, it's just like, why, just really puts me off, you know. And so I don't want to censorize, you know. I think we're censored enough, you know. So I get into a huge dilemma. Like I personally feel that that I don't know that I'd ever want to go with a publishing company, because unless I can write in my own words and keep everything, they would just take over. Yeah, publishers do not want realness in stories. They want safe stories. Hey, again with the sexual poking. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, they don't want realness in stories. They want safe stories, and I'm not about that. Like, I am fully insured for my Asexual Guide to Sex book and my previous ones. I'm fully insured for that. I made sure my insurance, because that's what I pay it every month for insurance, which a lot of people who are published, you know, who are authors, they don't even have insurance. You know, I'm insured for like coaching, blogging, building websites, being an author, writing my book. So I am fully insured for that. I made sure when I was when I took out I have to renew my insurance every November. Some of it's gone up, the admin fee's gone up to like triple. I had to get them to do a special deal on it last time, because they tripled because there's not quite tripled, nearly tripled. So there's an admin fee, but they did put it down a bit for me, because I'm like, why have you jumped? But you know, I am having a comprehensive cover, and everyone in the Asexual Guide to Sex book is anonymous apart from me. So that their full name is never revealed. You know, it's an alias name, their first name, or their first name and initials, or their initials, that type of thing. So none of them, because my new insurance, it's my same insurance company, but the new policy is I'll have to get, if anyone wants to use their real name, they'll have to sign a form. But they said it's best to just use anonymous names, like first name aliases or something like that, so they're not recognizable people, which is fine. But obviously with me, I can't hide, so everyone can see my truth and my personal stuff. But I'm kind of like used to it more on this channel. But obviously Asexual Guide to Sex book is going to go even into more detail of personal stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, you aren't off doing it, Sandra, you know, whereas the other people can hide their identity, and I have to keep everyone's identity secret unless they decide themselves they want to tell everyone who they are or they've been in my book, you know. So that's always a thing that I have to do. You know, some people they just openly say, oh, I'm in Sandra's book. Whereas with the first Asexual Perspectives book, some people had their full name in there, or their other social media links and stuff like that. So yeah. But I do know some people have already said, oh, I'm in your book, Sandra. So, you know, you kind of like know those people are. So yeah, I'm just so happy to be writing this, you know. And anyway, to give you the verdict of what the publishing company said for 35 years is it was too risky book for them to do, right? Which I was glad in a way. They spoke to their market team, and there's definitely a market for the Asexual Guide to Sex book, and it will definitely sell. So I was just really happy to get that feedback, because you know, they've been going for 35 years. Their marketing department should know what they're talking about. And obviously that makes me think, you know, if I'm better at marketing and being successful at marketing the first book, they've got 35 years experience of publishing and marketing books, and I have less than that, but done a really good job. I do have a lot of, like I do learn marketing. I've been learning it since 2012 because I've done a lot of entrepreneur training, marketing, affiliate marketing, social media marketing, specifically social media marketing a lot. I used to teach people how to use social media for their business. That's what it did. Well, that's one of the main things I did before I helped Asexuals. So and I need to do that to get the word out. It's very important. So the fact they got 35 years experience, they're saying our forecast for figures, because it's such a niche book, we couldn't do really any better than you. I think the Asexual Guide to Sex book will be phenomenal. I think it will sell at least double what the other book does. I would hope it would do a lot more though, because obviously there'll be sexual people that want to buy it because they'll know asexuals and they'll have asexual partners, or they might have friends and family, or just because they have a lack of understanding about sex themselves. I mean, let's face it, sex education is very, very poor, right? Real, true sex education, which is what the Asexual Guide to Sex book will be. Proper sex education, the education you don't get at schools. You know what I mean? So honestly, it's a book that anyone can benefit from. It's a book that will open wide eyes like never before. So I'm really proud to be writing it. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to publish it this year. I wanted to carry on what I was saying about what I put last year. So I was saying about, the answers would need to be in by the 30th of June 2019. Now, this is a year ago. Now, unfortunately, things have been delayed with the publishing, but it's like I said in the previous video, everything happens for a reason. And now I've got some more stories. Last month, I got one come in. So yeah, I can't say who it is, but hello to the person. Lots of love. It's not someone down in the chat, so it's all right. But I know, I know the person might tune in one day. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Well, there's lots of people that obviously see me on here. And yeah, so I'm really, really proud of that story. It was a really good edition last month, and I'm working on 3 new ones now as well. So just finished the first edits of the first one. I got 2 more to work on, so I'm so pleased. Right, so these are good additions to the book. They'll really help, and that they should make the book about, I think it'll be about 20 people in total, including me. I think it is something like that. So anyway, this particular time, Ace Marriage, I'll be one of the first to buy the new book. Oh, bless you, Richard. Thank you so much. That's really exciting. Oh, thank you so much. Lots of love. Sex education is poor, probably because of the church. I nearly spat my water out then, Liam. I haven't heard it phrased like that before. Sorry, I can't do nothing but laugh. I don't know whether to laugh or not at that. And obviously some people are churchgoers, so I kind of like don't want to upset anyone. But I think you mean because a lot of people say sex is a sin, and so people would rather be ignorant about it or watch porn and other stuff because they don't have anything else to go to, which is not good, really not good. But yeah, I totally agree. Sex education is so poor. Like we live in such a highly sexualized world. Like someone in this book actually hit the nail on the head for a very sexualized world that we live in. We don't have enough open, honest conversations about sex. And that's the truth. We don't. This is why people get pregnant young. This is why people, do take advantage of other people. It's not the only reason, but it doesn't help. This is why people have stupid expectations of sex in real life when they see things about porn that are just staged and camera angled and not really what I mean. I don't watch porn, but I just research about why people do it, or I don't even fully do that, but I see bits on articles about like the fact that it's not real and stuff, and that it's very unrealistic. So I can only take what other people say at that, but obviously it's not real life, is it? I know it's staged with actors and actresses and things like that, or some people use really young girls to do that, which is disgusting. There is very, very, very a lot of uneducated people about it. So anyway, going back to last year when I posted this post, there was this guy, right, who was really rude to me on Asexuality, and he goes, "I think I speak for everyone when I suggest you FC UK off." But he actually said that, right? I'm not going to show you him because I'm not going to be rude to him, but you know, see what I mean? I think that's really disgusting, right? So anyway, Eddie, it's because the girls in the videos do what the man says. Yeah, it's not good. You know, I'm yeah, I'm very much my own person. But some of them are pimps, aren't they? I don't really want to get into all this, but some of them are like, you know, they kind of trap the girls because they're like, do this for money. You ain't got no money unless you do this. And some of them have got power over them, probably physical power and stuff like this. And it's just, you know, it's just quite horrible. And other girls, they actually do cam sex stuff because they love it. They actually do videos like because they get paid shed loads. I was doing some research about membership sites and stuff like that. This one woman, you know, can do like a private video session and get like £1,000 in a week or something. Do you know what I mean? So from a, you know, from one like kind of like I think it's a membership site or something, or private viewing or something, from a few, you know, in a week from the client, she can just make £1,000. So she's making like £4,000 a month. So sometimes it's big business, and some women want to do that because they're like, well, why not? I've got it, so let me get paid for it, you know? So not everyone who does those type of videos, or, you know, cam girl business is booming, empowers them, and it's safer. Yeah, Eddie, I think yeah, because we were talking kind of a porn and then cam girl, weren't we? Yeah, cam girl is really booming. You know, it's a very, very, very profitable business model, if I can say that. It's very, very profitable business, and it is safer in general. They usually, I think, they usually use an anonymous kind of name, don't they, and stuff. Had a friend that did it. Yeah, well, I know. Well, yeah, I don't know anyone who has actually, personally, I don't know anyone who has actually done that for a business. I had to ask one of my friends what goes on in it because I didn't have a blooming clue. Who's actually done that, but not as in being paid for it, just done like cam sex. I'm like, so do you mind just telling me what goes on, because I haven't got a clue. So Liam, I hope you gave him the middle finger. Actually, Liam, I didn't give the guy the middle finger on Asexuality. I gave him a very good answer. So this was my answer. Hi, so-and-so, because I'm not going to say his name. Eddie, well, guys and girls can tip the performer. Eddie, this person never met up with the person in real life, I don't think. They just, you know, they were just having fun. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. It's a friend, and I don't think I should be saying. All I said is I wanted to know what my friend's done it before, and it wasn't to do that. It was just because she was having some fun with a guy. They didn't even have a relationship. They were just doing stuff. So, you know, there was no money. It was just boredom, I think, on both their parts and whatever. Anyway, yeah, so anyway, so this was my answer to the person on Asexuality that said about I think they speak for everyone, F off. So I said, hi, so-and-so, not revealing their name. I said, no, you definitely don't speak for everyone. I already have 5 people being interviewed for my book. This book came about because an aromantic asexual friend was interested in trying sex and was asking me what they would do and how they would go about it. So this is actually what sparked the idea of the Asexual Guide to Sex book. It was actually an aromantic friend, like someone who experiences no romantic attraction, no sexual attraction. They just popped a question in once in my chat, in my Facebook chat, saying, hey Sandra, if I did want to have sex, what would I do? You know, how would I go about it? And it caught me completely out of the blue. And I'm like, oh, I didn't actually think anyone would think about doing sex or having it who's asexual. oh, aha, I never thought about that because, and then I thought, well, you've got extensive experience, Sandra, of having sex in the past because you're in heterosexual relationships for half your life. And this could be a really good book to do because I then started seeing, like, look, I don't know if you follow law of attraction. So basically, law of attraction is all about being attracted to things that it's very, very in-depth law of attraction. So basically, law of attraction is you attract what you think about. So I was thinking about, I all of a sudden said, well, because my experience, I think I should do a book on it, maybe, and then, like I said, law of attraction is about what we think we attract. So I was going in forums, like asexual group forums, I think it was, and places where asexuals hang out, and I was seeing all these like conversations about, well, I didn't have a clue what I'm meant to do when I had sex. I don't know I didn't either. I don't know where my hands go. I don't know where my arms go. I don't know what I'm doing with my legs. I'm really confused. And then I thought, yes, you should definitely do this book, Sandra, because you have the experience that these other asexuals need. And then I was getting people from foreign countries messaging me who have arranged marriages. And they were saying to me, stuff like, I'm marrying this guy who's not asexual, he's sexual, and I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing with sex, Sandra. I'm going to go through. I obviously advise don't go and marry someone who's different sexual orientation to you, who's going to want stuff from you that you don't want to do. If you're a sex repulsed asexual, that's the last thing you should be doing. But I know most people who are in a arranged marriage culture will not listen to me on that. They will not take that because their family comes first. Whatever their family wants, they do, right? Even though I don't agree with going to do that. I know that's their culture. I understand it. So I can't, influence them enough to change their mind on that their family, their self-respect to do with their family, not to do with the self-respect of actually caring enough about themselves to walk away, often wins the day. As in, that their family don't respect them, and they kind of shame the family if they don't go through arranged marriage, which I personally think is disgusting. I think that should change. I feel for these people from the bottom of my heart, I really do, but there's nothing I can do about it other than help these people, right? So that I will start getting private message saying, what do I do, Sandra? I'm going to marry this sexual guy, I don't know what to do, I'm really scared, can you help me? And so all this combination of all this stuff is why I started writing the Asexual Guide to Sex book, because people need this book, right? That's why I started it. So what's happening in chat? Eddie, I thought you meant what happens in these places. No. Liam, you're too nice. You're an asexual cam girl without anything sexual. She should open up super chat for tips. Arranged marriage is basically slavery to husband and family. Yeah, there's when you said I should open up super chat for tips, I can actually install some software so people can like donate money, but you can donate money to this channel through PayPal. The link's in the description. Like I got my best friend donated some money. There's you just click through, you don't have to pay by PayPal, you just give a donation to the channel. But there is some software I can install, but from another company where you can do live donations. I haven't done that yet because you're supposed to only use it up to 20 hours a month. Well, my show's on for usually an hour a night for seven days a week. That's like 31 plus hours. So I haven't got the money to pay for like their upgraded version. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but yeah, any donations are really appreciated for this channel, however small. Do you know what I mean? Every little helps. It really does, and it motivates me as well. So it's in the description below in all the videos further down. Arranged marriage is basically slavery to husband and family. Yeah, I know arranged marriages, Eddie. I totally agree, but there's nothing I can do about it other than help these people if they're going to go through with it. I personally don't like marriage, and it's very difficult for me because, as you know, I like Indian guys particularly, and most of them are like, oh, I've got to be in a marriage. My family wants me to get married, and I just won't do that. I'm not interested in marriage, and I do think marriage itself is basically, a lot of the time it is a woman being subservient to the guy, and it's a woman cooking and cleaning for the guy. I ain't interested in that. I'm really not interested in that. I don't even like wearing rings. Like a lot of the time I don't wear any jewelry. You might have noticed that. I have got one ring that I bought for myself years ago, but I don't even like being tied down by rings. So I don't think getting married would be great. I like the romance side of marriage. I like the romance idea. But anyway, I diverse. So anyway, I said to this guy, the book came about because an aromantic asexual friend was interested in trying sex and was asking me what they would do and how they would go about it. They have been waiting for me to write this book for a long time. I also saw other asexuals in groups saying that when they tried sex before, they just didn't know what to do out of their legs, arms, etc. So there's already an audience for this book. It doesn't mean to say every asexual will be interested in it if they are sex repulsed, for example. But not all asexuals are the same. So some asexuals will try sex out of curiosity or to please their partner, and if it's good, and it's good if they understand what they are getting themselves into before trying it, so they are more knowledgeable to make an informed choice of whether sex is right for them or not. It's also about the time yes, this is a very important point. It's also about time asexuals got their voice heard on a global scale as to what it really feels like for an asexual to have sex, what we go through and have to endure. And then maybe more sexuals will understand us far better. So, I think this is very important. It is about time that asexuals had their own say on sex, and how it really feels to them as an asexual, how it really is for them in their mind, how we have to, we have what we have to go through to put ourselves in that position. It's very difficult. No, we have to think about it. I mean, a lot of people it just comes naturally to, and others like ourselves, it's just kind of like, I think with me, when I used to have sex, it came more naturally to me because I've been in like what to do, because I just kind of followed the guy, I think, most of the time, but I also kind of knew what to do. I've probably been like experienced for quite a long time in doing that, and I kind of just got used to it, but I'd rather have not have done it. I'd rather have been doing other stuff, and I didn't have a deep soulmate connection. Like originally I thought with one of the guys that I did when I was just friends with him before I got in a relationship with him, but then he just kept secrets from me and wasn't very nice. And so, we got together. So, I don't think it's the same sort of love that an asexual can give you. I think an asexual love is like the most beautiful love of all, most amazing love. So anyway, I think my point is, it's about time asexuals got their voice heard in regards to sex in a big way, instead of like telling us we don't exist, or saying, that asexuality isn't real, or trying to invalidate our identity and trying to push us away and not taking us seriously. I think the Asexual Guide to Sex book will really, really, really help a lot of the world to take asexuality much more seriously. It will show that we are real. They won't be able to dispute it unless they're completely just in denial. They really won't. So anyway, this guy replied, because I said about, what I did, that, that about the fact of, an aromantic asked what to do. People in forums were asked, didn't know what to do. And some people do want to give it a go, and it's better to make an informed choice than just go into that. And also, it's important to show what we have to endure if we put ourselves through that. It's not natural for us to do that usually. And then this guy there again goes, then I apologise and congratulate you on a calm and well put together response. Fair's fair. So I think that's really, good that I managed to kind of like turn this guy's like thought pattern around to one of, congratulating me on the book, And, I've had like since this post, all of a sudden it was revived, June the 30th. It was amazing. And then since June the 30th, I've had a few people wanting to be in the book. So, all in all, it's absolutely terrific. I've had such a good response. And so, there's definitely a need for this book. I appreciate that some people are going to be like, oh, why do you write a book like that? Why don't asexuals hear enough about sex? Yes, they do, but they don't hear about it enough from the perspective of an asexual person and what we have to go through if we're going to put ourselves into that position and give it a go and try it, or if we're like in situations we don't want to be, So this book is very, very important. So now you know what sparked the Asexual Guide to Sex book. The fact an aromantic asked me If they did want to try sex, what would they do and how would they go about it? I also saw in forums, asexual forums, that people wanted to know, like, what do they do with their arms and legs, etc., when they're having sex, because they didn't have a blooming clue and they were really confused about what to do physically. And then obviously there's the fact that we are silenced a lot, whereas where it's to do with sex, it's kind of like, oh, asexuals never have sex. If you do have sex, or if you had it in the past, you can't be asexual, which is completely misguided. Asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction. Doesn't mean to say we haven't participated in it, some of us. I understand there's still a lot of sex repulsed asexuals. I appreciate that. I'm personally sex repulsed for me these days. So I totally understand, but I'm not for other people, so I can talk about it for other people. I'm just for me. So, it's a combination of a number of things, and it is about time we had our say. In the book, what I'm so happy about the book the most is it does definitely show asexuality is valid, really, really, truly real, and how different we think about sex and how it is for us. And each person in the book, when you read their story, it's like you're in their mind, and it's an immersive experience. I don't know if you've ever been to an immersive experience, right? I've been to some like technology events, for example, up in London in the past, and I've had these kind of like immersive experience of like the rooms filled with lights and stuff and filled with objects and things. And it's almost like you're having experience in a room, not just a normal room, you're having a whole experience, and when you do virtual reality stuff, that's all about experience. Well, when you go into this book, for me personally, it's like I go into this book and I go into the minds of the real people. They're not fictional characters. They're real characters. They're not characters. They're, characters as in charismatic, as in people, but they're real people. It's not a fiction book. It's a non-fiction book. And I'm immersed in their mind. I'm like living their story, which is why it's very powerful. Richard just donated £5 to you. That's about how much I can do right now. I figured out how much it will be in USD. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet of you, Richard. Thank you for the donation, Richard. Oh, that's really lovely. Oh, it's really nice of you. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Oh, it's so lovely. I love it when people do that, because it really, really, it just makes me so happy. It makes me feel like, oh man, people are taking notice of these videos. I'm really making a difference, and I just feel like really appreciate. Oh, thank you, Richard. Lots of love to you. I really appreciate that. It's really kind of you. Thank you for going off and doing that. Oh, it's so nice. I just want to say thank you. Yeah, my best friend, Sam, they donated some money at the beginning of this month, so thank you to them as well. So yeah, it's really nice that my best friend's like, oh, your voice needs to be heard. People need to hear what you have to say for asexuals. I thought that was really sweet. Thank you, Richard. Like I said, every little helps. I'm so happy to have anything. Just a gesture in and of itself means I feel like really elated, because I feel like, wow, someone really appreciates it enough to even do that, because that's obviously another step from just coming on and watching. So I really appreciate it. It's really kind of you. Thank you, because I know times are tough at the moment as well. So really, really lots of love to you. Really happy. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm beaming now. Thank you so much. I feel, when you got that warm, snuggly feeling, that's how I feel now. Thank you. Lots of love to you. Yeah, Richard's got a podcast as well about asexuality, so don't forget. And Richard also does some stuff on YouTube about asexuality, so check out his channel by clicking through his link. Just thought I'd let you know that. So yeah, so with the Asexual Guide to Sex, it's like a complete immersive experience, like when I read the stories, I honestly feel like I'm in the mind of the real person that has experienced this. Obviously, when you read fiction, which I don't usually read these days, but when you read fiction, you're like in the mind character of the mind, if I can speak correctly, the mind of the character, like, but that's fiction, that's not real. But when you have like such amazing stories, they are written in a interview style, but they have been really, really edited to have their whole story weaved through the answers. And when you're reading the main part of the story, you're just so immersed, and you like feel like you honestly feel like you're you're at one with the character, you know, the real life character, the real person, not a character in a fiction book. You feel the person, you know. And obviously I know these people by email. I don't know a lot of them by actual in person, you know. I know a lot of them by email, and you get to know them like a friend after a while, because we're working on them for hours and days together, backwards and forwards of different emails. There's a lot of editing that's gone into this book, but it's to like stretch, you know, to stretch out the fullness of their story, and to hone down on all the things that really, really matter to asexuals. And it's just like I said, it's just, for me personally, when I'm reading them, it's just like every single story I'm immersed in, I'm with that person at the time, I'm experiencing what they've been through, which is why one story particularly is very difficult for me to read. It's difficult because I am personally a sex repulsed asexual, and you know, it is the kind of like more hard story that's not particularly pleasant. It's got a good outcome though, I have to say. It's got a very good outcome, but it's very difficult for me to read that one, you know, because the book is about the good, the bad and ugly stories, still about sex. And you know, some of the ugly ones, particularly this one, is very difficult, but it does have a good ending. So you know, it's definitely worth being the book as well, because it's very, very different to my own story, you know, in lots of ways. And so I think it's very good to have that contrast, but it is hard for me to read sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel a bit like woof, I need to relax after I've read that one, because like I said, you like in the minds of the person that's actually whose story, you know, it is. So I think it's just a tremendous book, but it's not just because of me, it's because of all the people that's taken part in it. You know, without them the book would definitely not be as good. I've definitely needed every single person in the book that's contributed, and I can't thank them enough. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna love you and leave you for now. I want to say thank you so much again to Richard for supporting this channel with your donation. Thank you so much, lots of love. And thank you, Eddie, as well, for being here as usual. Thank you so very much to Liam as well. You are amazing, Liam. And thanks to everyone else who's been here tonight. So Eddie, Liam and Ace Man, Richard are the ones that have taken part the most. And I really, really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks for the thumbs up. If anyone else wants to give me a thumbs up, that would be great. And don't forget to hit that great big subscribe button and hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. I'll see you on the next video live stream. Take care. Bye.